It may be a little bit of a weird topic for metaphysical ecology when we talk about AI, but it's not. When the question came, how do you see AI from a metaphysical perspective? I had to do quite a bit of pondering. How do I see it? And is the way I see it, is that useful for others to share? Well, of course, everyone need to make the decision themselves. I cannot say for certain that it's useful for you, but it was very useful for me to think about it, to feel into it, to make a connection with it. Now, in the first place, I think we need to start with the point that nothing is good or bad. A system like AI exists, and it is up to us to give it a label. I would not suggest to give it a label, but that's what we tend to do. So that gives already a part of the answer. I don't consider it to be bad or good. It is a system that exists, and we have choices to make in how we look at it, how we want to work with it. But how does it fit into the totality of what I call metaphysical ecology? I see AI as a part of human collective. We create it. It's not an independently consciousness by consciousness created. It is our consciousness that creates AI. And that's a very important point because that means that we are responsible for AI, the way it works, what it is doing, and how it is working, because we are the creators of it. And there's a lot of thought about that it becomes independent, but it can never be independent. It is totally depending on us. And yes, it can make an increasing number of connections way beyond what we can do. And as such, it can be an unbelievable, helpful tool, but it is not independent of us. It's connected to machines that we have created with programs that we have created. So it is really an integrated part of the human consciousness. It's interesting because human consciousness is in this phase, actually, let's say, wrestling with itself, I would almost say. Yeah. We have been trained to be so much coming from um, making sure that we are safe. The survival strategies, the way we think is always basically, and I'm generalizing, I know that. I refer to the collective, not to individuals, but have the tendency to look at things from, oh, is this helping us? Is it making our lives better? Is it supporting me individually in order to do better, to have more money, to have more acknowledgement for my wonderful work, whatever it is? And that is exactly also what the problem is. From a metaphysical perspective, everything is interconnected. So our actions have an effect on everything else. So if we create something that is not supporting the whole, but is only supporting us, by definition, it's a system that is not in alignment with the totality of the Earth system. There is where you can say, I don't have really worries, but one of the things that I look at is this system that we create, that we call AI, is that supporting the whole? Or is it, as many systems, supporting humanity, and within that, only a certain group of humanity? Well, you know to some degree the answer already. Yeah. It is not made, created to support the whole. If you look at why we are invited to use AI, is always to improve our lives. And not that that's a bad thing, as long as we realize that we are an integrated part of the Earth system, this is an integrated part of, and then we can go into the solar system and the galaxy, and ultimately the universe or even the multiverse. And from that perspective, seen from a metaphysical perspective, It is maybe not yet a system that is in alignment with the larger whole, but is in alignment with certain ways of thinking within the human collective. So I think that we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to really look in how we are using it, how we are creating it, so to speak, and what the effects are of our creation. We have already seen that it can be used in many ways that are, let's say, definitely not supportive to others, let alone to the whole. That is where, as always, the weak points in human creations are. And we have to look at AI from that perspective. If you come from a metaphysical ecology way of looking at the whole. And I'm not going into quantum computing, which is, according to some, the next step, because that is still has so many unknown factors. The only thing that I feel, and I emphasize the word feeling, I'm feeling uncomfortable with it. It is not up to us to use something out of the universe that we have not really a complete understanding of for our personal, let's say, use. That expansion in this phase should not yet be developed because we are not even able to create at this moment an AI system that is supporting the whole. Again, it's not about judging the system. It's about making us aware of our responsibility, the responsibility to make AI a supporting system for the greater good, for the whole, for the Earth system. It can be used that way. I absolutely believe that. But it depends on what we put in. It depends on how we use it and depends on how it is evolving over time because it's evolving through the human consciousness system that always is in motion and always is evolving. But be aware when you contribute to this, how you choose to contribute to that evolution. It's a fascinating thing to observe in many ways. I use AI for some practical things to, in a limited way. That's, of course, my choice. I not say this is good or this is how you should do it. But I've seen and heard enough, read enough to know that we should raise a little bit of a red flag. We are not sufficiently aware of the fullness of this creation and how it is used. And the fact that we need so many precautions in order to make it be useful, even for children and some other people, is already an indication that we need to think very hard and very deeply. So, from a metaphysical perspective, there's no right or wrong. It's a part of who we are, it's a part of our evolution, and we need to, I would say, take a hard look at ourselves and the creations that we are in this moment are developing. So that is a certain way of looking at it. And my invitation to you is look at it, and not from a point of right or wrong, but from how does it make you feel? How do you resonate? And how do you think you can use it for the greater good of all? Because more people are using it that way, it will have a more positive impact on this creation. We cannot throw it out of the door, although there are other impacts, and it's good to mention that also because we talk about metaphysical ecology. These are systems that use so much water, and we see them also here in areas like Arizona rising up. That in and of itself need to be looked at. Is that a responsible way of using our resources? And do we really need it? Or, and we go back to metaphysical ecology, is it about developing our consciousness in such a way that we don't need those systems, but that we need to connect with the totality to understand what the most optimal actions are in order to support the total system? the earth, nature. As it stands now, AI and everything that it brings, including these huge buildings with needs of electricity, of cooling, and other things, may not be as much in alignment as we like it to be. These were some thoughts. Hopefully, it will set something into motion into you and make you more aware of how you want to contribute in the use of AI. It's always interesting to share, so thank you for listening.